Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast once again. I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, future Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. We got UFC 281 to go over, UFC Vegas 65 to preview, Bellator 288 to go over, as well as a bunch of news. As always, we are brought to you by Rogue Energy. If you want 10% off your order at RogueEnergy.com, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. It's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off all your energy needs. They help me fueled to get through the day, and they can help you as well if you use code SOUNDOFF for 10% off. We are also brought to you by ELYXR. ELYXR is currently one of the leading distributors of Delta 8, 9, and 10 products. The lab-tested products include vapes, gummies, joints, and gels, among other things. Please check your local laws to ensure that you're in a state where ELYXR can ship to you. For fans of the Courtside Soundoff podcast, ELYXR is allowing 10% off with the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. That's code SOUNDOFF for 10% off. Angel, we teased it last week. What are your thoughts on ELYXR products?
I have it. It's helped me already a lot with my sleep. It's been great.
That's what we use it for.
I kid you, personally, I really do. By the way,
it does help a lot.
I will say, guys, it's my personal experience. Be responsible and be an adult and follow the dosage recommendations.
Of course. You know, you don't want to take...
I, myself, may have not followed those instructions.
Exactly. You guys got to be careful. If you've never done Delta 8 or any of those products before, please, they even got instructions on the side of the tin, I believe. Like, if you've never done it before, you gotta be careful with your first time dosage.
It's really funny, Josh. I read it, because they're on the top. I'm holding the little tin right now.
There is an instructional thing, right?
I read it, and I was like, oh, fuck it. And, no, it didn't, not really.
Yeah, I'm a seasoned veteran of the gummies at this point, so I know what works for me, but it may not work for everybody. So just go ahead and be careful the first time. Don't make the mistake of if you guys have never done this before, never used the products before, don't eat like one and think I'm not feeling anything after 30 seconds. Because
30 seconds? Who the fuck
not 30, I meant 30 minutes, my bad. Like don't immediately think like, oh shit, this gummy ain't shit, because it'll come back to bite you. So just be responsible. But you can also go ahead and be responsible and also get it for cheaper if you use code SOUNDOFF at checkout at ELYXR.com. Fantastic sponsor of the show. Just want to go ahead and give them a shout out, as well as Rogue Energy. Last Saturday night, from Madison Square Garden in New York City, New York, UFC 281 went down. And we knew going in that the middleweight title fight between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira could be one for the ages, and it was exactly that. Israel Adesanya was 3 minutes away from retaining his middleweight championship, and Alex Pereira unleashed a combination from hell, and he knocks him out. Controversial stoppage a little bit. It was a TKO, standing TKO, but Alex Pereira, Poatan, and new. Angel, give me your reaction, give me your thoughts about the middleweight title fight that happened last weekend.
It's holy shit, Josh. First of all, exciting, intense, really fun to watch, heartbreaking. I mean, it had all the emotions, right? Everything you want in a fight, an event, the stage. I mean, it was all perfect. And, wow, like you said it, I mean, we were married to win of it being and still it ended up being and new, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the nature of the sport, man. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of this sport, that there's so many ways you could end at any moment. It doesn't matter if it's the first round or the fifth round with 5-10 seconds left. You could make something happen, and you could have won the last 4 rounds in a row. You could be going into the fifth down bad, but you could throw something from, your back pocket and, win it all right back. And look, I mean, it seemed great. Izzy looked pretty good early on. I heard him right there at the end of the first round. The bell saved Alex Pereira. And there's a round in between there that I can't remember that I gave the Pereira. It might have been the second.
It was the second when he got the takedown in the final, 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the third is when Izzy got reversed the takedown, right?
Yeah, correct. And he got a lot of back control.
Yeah, got a lot of back control, looked really good. Fourth looked pretty solid. Going into the fifth, we didn't look bad initially, but Alex Mejia came out hot, kept bringing it forward. I will say this, Josh, my only issue, and obviously we're not going to enter like a crazy amount of fight analysis here. There was a certain level, at least personally, when Izzy was against the cage where I felt very uncomfortable. Did you feel at all the same?
Yeah, I kept on watching, and I was like, he's on playing a dangerous game because he would keep on backing up to the defense. He would just try and do a little bit of head movement, but at a certain point, if you do that for 5 rounds, you're giving Poatan way too much. Like he knows what you're gonna do at a certain point, especially when you back up to the fence. You don't really put your hands up. You just put your hands at your side and you try to do a little shimmy, almost Roy Jones-esque in a way. You know what I mean? And he just kept on backing up to the fence, and you kind of knew at a certain point, like he's getting way too comfortable back there. And then he got caught. I think what was it? Like he went in like a left hook and an uppercut whenever Izzy was pulling that shit near the back of the fence, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. It ended. I mean, the left was what sealed the deal in the end, as it's done for him time and time again. And look, there was a lot of good things that happened. I felt like a lot of people complimented Izzy for his work on the ground. And look, obviously, I am no expert on the ground, right? I'm not gonna claim to be. I'm learning now. For those who don't know, we'll talk about that later on the podcast.
Yeah, we will.
But
it's just future.
But I felt like, Josh, and I feel like you could agree with me on this, I don't feel like, even though Izzy took advantage as much as he could at his level and with the abilities and skills that he has in that position, I still feel like he didn't fully optimize as much as he could. But granted, that's asking for a lot for a guy whose specialty is on the stand-up, but still has tools on the ground to work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like he did certain things right, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like different people in this particular position could have done more.
Yeah, a lot of that fight and ultimately the final result just came down to, and it's so rare for me to feel this way about Israel Adesanya because he's a guy that has insane fight IQ, top of the line. Like this motherfucker was made in a lab, okay? Like he doesn't miss, and he's always very, very smart. He always plays it very, very careful. But in round 5, I was very, very surprised he did not try to clinch. He did not shoot for a takedown.
I think he fainted one initially, right?
He might have. He fainted one, but he didn't really shoot or anything like that. It was just kind of surprising to me. And then I feel like I see your point, and I think that if there were other people in that position, like, look, we kind of knew going into this fight that it's kind of weird because Israel Adesanya is the champion. But this was always going to be a matchup that, out of everybody in the top 5, was extremely beneficial to Alex Mejia. Because Israel Adesanya, even though he even got a couple takedowns. Like 2 in this fight, That's not his bread and butter. Like, that's not what he does. He's a kickboxer. And I feel like if there were other guys in that position, Alex Mejia, it's not a good night at the office for him. Yep. But speaking of other people, I feel like we should move forward a little bit because now with the big win, Alex Mejia is champion. He's beaten Israel Adesanya 3 times across 2 sports. Adesanya teased he might take a little bit of time off after the loss and that he needs to go ahead and get some health things checked out. And he later backtracked on this, but he said he compared himself to Chadwick Boseman and said you don't really know what people got going on when you judge them, He doesn't have cancer or anything like that. He immediately walked it back the next 2 days later on the MMA Hour. But he said that he still might take a little bit of time off, but that he wants his next fight to be back whenever it is against Alex Mejia, belt or no belt. Walk me through. What do you think is next for the champ? What do you think is next for the former champ? And what you personally would like to see most?
I mean, look, I think we know at this point Alex Mejia is going to take time off. He's been extremely active since coming to the UFC, Josh. I mean, you got to think about it. He fought almost exactly a year to go to the day that Izzy fight. He made his debut November 6th, and he fought Izzy on the 12th of this year. So 6 days later from his debut, a little over a year. Fought Bruno Silva at the start of this year in March. and he fought Strickland a few months back. And then he fought Izzy. I mean, he that's 4 fights within a calendar year, essentially, a little over, but he's been pretty active. And he had a kickboxing match in 2021. He had 2, one in January and one in October, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been super active. He's cut a lot of weight, and he just won this big title. I'm sure he'll take the time off too, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And for Izzy, I mean, do what you got to do. I mean, he was champ for a long time. I think he'll take back, reset. He'll look back at that fight, be like, damn, I was winning that fight. I was winning that fight fair and square. I mean, shit. He's like, I could have even lost that third round, that final 5th round, and won the fight.
Mm-hmm. You know, the craziest thing to me is I'm surprised people are not talking about the fact that he might actually go ahead and move up to light heavyweight. He's a huge middleweight. He had a hard time cutting to 185. I could see him going up to 205 next. You know,
I feel like that'd be such a power move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The only issue is though, fuck, dude, there's some good fucking grapplers at 205.
Yeah, I don't think it would go well for him because the reality is that he got a lot of love from the UFC. He got a good matchup. He faced, he's not even in the UFC anymore. Andreas Michailidis, or how do you pronounce his name? Michailidis. He's a much smaller guy who got cut from the UFC after that one because he's not very good. He fought Bruno Silva, Bruno Silva's a fun guy, but
you know what the UFC would do? They would be massive cucks, and they'd be like, well, Alex, if you want to be ranked at 205, you can fight Dustin Jacoby, who you already fought in kickboxing and beat.
Oh, God, don't even say that.
Yep. I mean, there's guys he could take on there, like Khalil Roundtree, Dustin Jacoby, Johnny Walker even.
Yeah.
Avoid Paul Craig, even Jamal Hill could be interesting, because I don't know if Jamal Hill would take that fight to the ground.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's guys up there like fucking Magomed Ankalaev, a Glover Teixeira, which, I mean, their teammates, they would never fight. Anthony Smith, who's a slick jiu-jitsu guy too. I mean, you don't get to see it a lot, but he has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different. I would not make that move if I were him, but I could see him making a move, especially after Glover retires. But, I mean, what I think is next, I think we're probably going to get the Izzy rematch, I guess, in MMA next, or the 4th fight, if you count the first 2 kickboxing ones. I
have one question for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you think if Izzy does not meet, I'm assuming, who knows what the UFC's timeline is, if he does not meet the UFC's timeline, do you think the winner of Marvin Vettori and Robert Whittaker could get that fight if for some reason the UFC's unhappy with Izzy's timeline?
Well, it's Paulo versus
Paulo versus Robert. My
bad.
Bad. Yeah, that was a fight before.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just depends on what their timeline is. They could do that, especially if it's Whittaker, which it probably will be, because at that point, I mean, Whittaker, that motherfucker is just on an insane run. I mean, I understand, yes, he lost Izzy in the second fight, but that was razor close.
You know something funny that I said after the fight, as the fight ended, and everything was going down, Izzy had lost. I was heartbroken, right? And look, I'm going to talk about this kind of freely, right? Because
go ahead.
I'm not a member of the media, Josh, so I can say this. And This is something I'm going to state now to everybody. Me and Josh are 2 very different people on this podcast. We give 2 very different perspectives. Josh is a member of the media. I am your average Joe Schmo on the street who, loves the sport and, trying to participate in a way now. Mm-hmm. But, fuck, man, I'm a fan of Israel. So I was fucking heartbroken. Right after that fight ended, Josh, I was like, send in Robert Whittaker. I kid you not. I was like, send in Robert Whittaker, dude. I literally said that as fucking, before they even handed the belt over, dude.
Dude, that's hilarious. Because, look, I love Bobby Knuckles. I've made that very, very clear. I'm a huge fan of Bobby Knuckles. And I'm not even saying this because I'm a fan. I'm looking at it objectively. Even objectively speaking, I'd pick Whittaker over Pahia probably 8 times out of 10. It's just being honest.
Yeah, I think regardless, it's still a hard matchup though for Robert because he's always had trouble with tall, longer guys. You know what I mean?
That is true, but I also don't think that I feel like Whittaker on the feet, if he plays it similar to how he did against Izzy, where he's just doing a lot of darting in and out, I can easily see him taking down Pahia and ultimately, subbing him. I mean, Adesanya, he's not a wrestler, but goddamn if he's not the best, like, anti-takedown, get back to his feet guy in the UFC. You know what I mean? He's legit at that.
Yeah.
I don't think Pereira. I mean, we saw Adesanya have like 4 minutes of back control, man. I mean,
that's another thing you got to think about too, is like, especially since Pereira was probably the stronger guy in there, you know, a little bigger.
Yeah.
And he had some, you know, and he obviously has some natural power, so, and he wasn't able to get, especially with the frame he has too, you would think he would be able to do it, you know, post up or something, but no, you're not wrong about that. He's not fucking, you know, beating Nurmagomedov, you know, he's going kind of extreme here, but if that's what Izzy could do, imagine what a guy with those kind of ground capabilities and control could do.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens moving forward with that division. There's so much, like, there's so many. By
the way, I do like that thing you said though, Alex Pereira 205. I kind of fuck with that. I think he could really do, because I mean, 205 is open, you know.
Yeah, especially after he loses the belt. I mean, let's be honest. He went ahead and let's say Alex loses the belt. By that point,
fuck cutting the weight.
Will almost definitely be retired. Almost definitely.
Because it'll be in, you know, because we're talking 2024 at that point. We're not talking 2023. More likely, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point, he's definitely going to be retired. So, yeah, there's a lot of moves that we can see him making in the future, and there's a lot of different things that can happen. But time to move on to the co-main event, because the co-main event, it did not, you know, I guess it was somewhere in the middle of what people expected. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. Weili Zhang is your new UFC Women's Strawweight Champion.
Let's go, China number one.
China number one, yeah. Everybody. They booed the shit out of Carla Esparza.
I was surprised by that, dude, especially for being in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of, UFC fans are the most, I love the sport, but the fans are just fucking ridiculous. I mean, are we seriously going to pretend that, like, Weili did not get booed out of the building, like, 2 fights ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Because she was a communist or whatever the fuck Rose said. I mean, let's just be honest here, like, ridiculous. But they pretended that now they're a huge fan of Weili because Esparza was champion. Regardless, as far as the actual fight goes, like I said, it was somewhere in the middle of what a lot of people expected. Most people expected Weili to dominate. She kind of did, but Carla had her moments. She got on top at times. She did well to survive, especially in round 1. She had some moments. But then in round 2, Weili gets the rear naked choke. Not even like a rear naked choke because he wasn't exactly behind her either. It was kind of like a side choke. It was a really weird position, but she gets the win, gets the dub. Not shocking at all, but what is your takeaway from this fight? And who do you think Weili could fight next? Because women's strawweight is an excellent division, but because Marina Rodriguez lost, there's kind of a lot of question marks. So what do you think?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like, God, dude, Weili's already beat Jessica Andrade. Amanda Lemos just got a nice win, but she lost to Andrade. I don't know how Rodriguez. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty. There needs to be some clarity at that division. I don't know who it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Lemos, but I feel like, fuck, man, it's kind of like, is it even full? There is no clear number 1 contender right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not. I mean, you can give it to Lemos, but it'd be a little bit weird.
I mean, we're looking at a fucking Rose Weili trilogy at that point. I almost feel it.
Jesus Christ, I really hope not. I'm so tired of the same people fighting him for the title, man. It's the same. It's fucking like Rose, Weili, Joanna, but I guess Joanna's retired now. You know.
By the way, is Rose? Well, she's
Esparza. It's the same like 5 or 6 names just rotating over and over and over and over again. So that's kind of why I'd like a Lemos fight or fucking whoever at this point.
Do we have an update on Rose? Like, do we know if Rose is going to do anything, you know?
No. I know that she said, probably like last week or the week before, she would like an Esparza trilogy, but she knows that fans wouldn't really like that.
I mean, you know something, they could run that back, which, I mean, I feel like this time Rose would press the action.
Yeah, I mean, God bless. We can only hope so, you know? I don't know, man. This division's in a weird place. This division is an extremely weird place. And then,
I mean, they might just give fucking Lemos his Weili, but I just feel like that's...
You know what the dumbest part about this? Well, oh, shit, you know what you can think about? Jan Allen just beat Dern. You're telling me they wouldn't do a Chinese woman versus a Chinese woman in China next year?
The issue is, though, she lost to fucking...
She lost to a lot of people, but she won her last fight. That's all the UFC needs.
No, but still, though, it still wouldn't make much sense, though, for them to do. I mean, she lost to... What, was it Marina Rodriguez?
She lost to Marina.
Was it Amanda?
She lost to Esparza. But then she beat Dern.
She did. I mean, I guess, like...
I think you're overestimating how much the UFC really cares about legitimacy and title shots.
I know, but still... I don't feel like it makes much sense still. I mean, I feel like if she got one over on one of them, yeah, the issue is Marina Rodriguez lost. Like, that was the big fucking wrench and all that shit. Because they had their next person.
Mm-hmm.
Is Marina Rodriguez.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if she beat her, I don't know, they fucking hate that poor woman for some reason.
I mean, I think they'll end up doing Amanda Lemos because, fuck, what other choice do they have? But then it's like, fuck, she lost to Jessica Andrade, and Jessica Andrade's ranked below her. Jessica Andrade lost to Wei Li. She also beat Rose. I mean, it's fucked. I mean, there's no clear contender. They need to do some fucking Bellator fucking tournament, dude, like, style.
Yeah.
I feel like, dude, that would be a fucking power move if they do that in this division.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I that's gonna be something unorthodox next, because, like, you just said, like, oh, it can't be Jan because, she lost to Blank Blake, but there's, they might give it to Rose, and Rose just lost, and she had one of the worst fights of all time, so, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very, very weird, regardless of what happens next. There's no clear answer, but there's also, because of the fact there's no clear answer, kind of give it to anybody. So that's why I think that Jan Janon could get it. Like, I don't think that's that crazy to me. Especially considering, I think I heard Wei Li said the UFC might go back to China next year. And if that's the case, if there's no clear number one, and you have a chance to make that fight in China, like, get out, man. Like, that'd be crazy.
I mean, if we're being honest here, someone below, I mean, Wei Li's not going to be fighting anytime soon, so there'll be time for someone here to fight. I mean, honestly, Amanda Lemos, Zhang Xiaonan, title eliminator? Fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Maybe they give Marina Rodriguez, Jessica Andrade at some point. They run that. I don't know.
By the way, minor thing. I did look it up. Wei Li said that the UFC is going to do a pay-per-view event next year in China.
Oh, there you go.
So, we'll see what happens, but regardless, it's probably time to move on. Because, dude, this card, we gotta call it for what it is. There was a lot of hype for UFC 280. And that would look great on paper, but I feel like in execution, it was a good card, but not a great card. UFC 281 on paper, great card. Fucking card of the year. Like, incredible. Top to bottom, prelims to main event. And the best fight of the night was Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier. Because these two dudes, look, they can say what they want. I saw Chandler said something along the lines like, I may go in there, I may have a game plan, I'll probably wrestle. I'll probably do this, I'll probably do that. Dustin Poirier's like, I'm not going to get myself into the brawl, yada, yada. Instantly. just instantly throwing hands, and just seconds in, you're like, oh, this is going to be another one of those fights of the decade type shit. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it was. Round one, Chandler came out, he hurt Poirier, but then Dustin Poirier, he got that dog in him, he survived, and then he nearly got the finish at the end of round one, but guess what? Iron Michael Chandler, he got that dog in him too. He came back round two, got the takedown, did some work from the top. Both guys are bleeding, both guys are bloody. Round three, Dustin Poirier gets the sub, gets the win, back into title contention. Afterwards, he said something along the lines of like, because Islam said he didn't have jiu-jitsu. He's like, who got the jiu-jitsu now, motherfucker? Like he was feeling himself, Dude, this is an incredible fight. It immediately makes its way into the fight of the year contention. Afterwards, Dana compared Michael Chandler to UFC's Arturo Gatti. Like, he's just bangers all the time. Give me your thoughts on the fight, and ultimately what your reaction is, and what you kind of think it places in terms of the fight of the year conversation.
I mean, it's pretty good, man. Glover Yuri is just so fucking good. And it's 5 rounds, and it had a title on the line, and he won last second, and it was a banger from start to finish. You know what I mean? It's pretty untouchable in my eyes. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, this is right up there. I mean, it's really good. It made it to the 3rd round. In typical Chandler fashion, though, I did some things right, did some things wrong, went off course, but fuck it. I think that's why you like to watch Michael Chandler fight. Dude, Josh, you saw that first round. You would have thought Michael Chandler was going to put Dustin. For a second there, Josh, I was like, dude, where did Dustin's boxing go?
I had the exact opposite opinion.
Did you think he was just fucking with him?
Once I saw Poirier up against the fence, like slipping punches, and Chandler was throwing bombs, I was like, he's got him exactly where he wants him.
Granted, though, it didn't go like that.
Not even a joke. I remember being fuck, man, there's no way that.
Well, I was just mad confused initially because I was just like, what is? Because Josh, you gotta admit, he was getting hurt. Like he was legitimately getting rocked at one point. He even admitted at one point. He said, "Yeah, he rocked right there, but he doesn't throw down the middle a lot. So, but if he threw down the middle, he would have had me out."
Mm-hmm.
That's the main reason I'm saying that because there was a point in that round where he was compromised. You know?
Yeah, he was compromised, but at the same time, I was like, man. Yeah, I remember thinking, and then Dustin rocked him and he pulled up his shorts like he always does. I was like, oh man, he's about to go to work. It's done.
He did.
I was surprised that Chandler rallied though. I was surprised that Chandler rallied in round 2.
That's what I'm saying. It was a mental fucking because look, he might have lost the fight lost the round at the end of round, but Chandler still looked good in that first round. And I'm like, and then he came back second round. I'm like, dude, this is looking like Chandler's fucking fight right now.
Yeah, I feel like some people forget, and even I got caught up in the fact that like people are always like, oh, Chandler's a 1-round fighter, he's the most dangerous in that first round, which he is, but like he still got that dog in him. He still got a pretty good gas tank for how explosive he is. You know,
he's stupid. He's probably the most. It's probably him and Yoel Romero, like two of the most explosive fighters I've ever seen ever.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is like Michael Chandler, even after losing this fight, I'm like.
He still doesn't lose like clout, man. You still want to see him fight again.
I could see him beating Islam. I could see him beating anybody in the top 10. But I could also see him losing to anybody in the top 10. Like that's the Michael Chandler experience right there, baby. Like I could see him beating anybody, top 10, top 15. I could see him losing anybody in the top 10, top 15.
He's the better Michael Johnson, right?
Oh yeah, in a way. So. This fight kind of lost its luster because of a fight announcement, which we'll talk about in probably like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Who do you want to see these guys fight next? I feel like Dustin getting a huge win. He's back in title contention. And then for Chandler, obviously, this is the loss, but like, this is kind of the Chandler experience. Like I said, he can lose to anybody on any given night, but he can also beat anybody on any given night. And the fact that, he's 2-3 in the UFC, but sometimes, like, he's got some big wins, he's had some big losses. What do you think about what's next for these guys?
Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier, number 2.
Really?
They both just beat Chandler. They both lost to the champ, who was Charles Oliveira formerly. Yeah, I think it's the perfect matchup at lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fireworks. Why wouldn't you want to see these guys fight again?
Yeah, fair enough.
Chandler, Conor. I kid you not. I think you coming off a few losses. They've been joking around for it. Connor's coming off some losses. Connor could win that fight. Dustin could win that fight. That shit could sell great pay-per-views. American versus Irish. Talk a lot of shit. That press conference will be great. I think Connor's the right fight. I actually don't think there's a better time for Michael Chandler actually to fight Conor. And I don't think there's a better time for Conor to fight Michael Chandler than now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I'm actually being fully serious on the Conor thing. Like, I don't think Michael Chandler should take another fight unless it's Conor McGregor at this time. No other fight makes a lot of sense at this point. Inevitably they're gonna fucking give him like a fucking Saryukin or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah.
Maybe a Jalen Turner.
I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for Jalen Turner. I don't want to beat him.
Low-key banger of the year is Michael Chandler versus Jalen Turner.
Low-key banger of the year, yeah. Fiziev, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna give Fiziev like fucking Benio Dariush. I don't know. Or Justin Gaethje, I don't know. But in my opinion, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje is the fight to make right now. One's ranked 2, one's ranked 3. Both beat the same guy last time out. Both lost to the same guy the time before that. Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let those guys bang.
Yeah, I get it. I agree with both of your fights, dude. I gotta be honest. I think both of those make a shit ton of sense.
Well, Josh, thank you for.
It's not as fun to agree with you though. So I'm gonna go ahead and not agree with you. I think Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje makes too much sense not to happen. They had a fight of the year contender. What was that? 2018. Incredible. In fact, they can run it back 5 years later, and then it's like winners right. I guess if Poirier wins, he's right there for a title shot. I don't think Gaethje would get it.
And bragging rights.
Bragging rights, yeah. Poirier can go 2-0 in this series. That'd be fucking incredible. Chandler, I'd like to see the McGregor fight, but I got a weird inkling that McGregor versus DS3 is next. Especially considering Nate just tried to fight Well, he did just get into a brawl with Dylan Dennis and his buddies outside MSG over the weekend.
That's fucking comedy.
And you know how ride or die Connor is. We know how fucking ride or die Connor is. He saw Artem getting bullied by Habib and his boys, so he flew on a fucking plane and inadvertently created the biggest fight in UFC history. So I could see him fighting Nate next, especially Jake Paul's probably going to be busy. So I don't think Chandler will fight McGregor next. I think that fight will happen at some point in time. I don't think it'll be next. But looking at the lightweight division, let me go ahead and pull up the rankings real quickly.
Shit, if they were smart, they'd make a fucking 165 weight class inaugural Michael Chandler Michael Chandler Connor fight, dude.
Yeah, that makes oh, fuck me, that'd be good, but that makes too much sense to happen. You know how the UFC is that
they're like, dude, making a weight class and be logical and
oh my god, could you imagine if we actually like did something that'd be pretty fucking cool? Oh,
Connor could become 3-way champ.
You want it to be a weird one, which I wouldn't mind. Dan Hooker versus Chandler too.
No, I don't think that fight makes any sense right now. Like, you
don't think so?
No, I mean Dan
5
Hooker,
rounds.
I mean Dan Hooker beat.
Come on, think of how fun that would be.
Well, we got to talk about Dan Hooker next, right? He's the next one down on the card.
No, he's a fight away.
Who's afterwards? I'm not looking at it right now, so we can.
Frankie. We got to talk about Frankie in a minute.
Can we leave Frankie for the end because it was a retirement? We'll go.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's talk about Dan Hooker because Dan Hooker defeating Claudio Puelles pretty easily. He did navigate a couple of bad situations, but he ends up getting the second round TKO win. So what do you think about that one?
I mean, look, a little disappointing Claudio, but he's young. He's 26. He pulled a good old fucking Ryan Hall on us and went for the Imanari role. Initially, though, it looked good, right? But didn't secure it, didn't get the fucking submission. And after that, he fucking thought it was a jiu-jitsu match and tried to pull guard. On the ground, but no one was. He was not gonna, and it was just. I mean, you don't want to see that, man. Some guy in the scooting on the ground trying to, and I mean, it's just not gonna happen. And I mean, it was just. He's young. It wasn't his time. He wasn't ready to hang with the big dogs, the A-listers, as I heard someone say. And that's perfectly fine. He's 26. I mean, he has 10 more years in this sport. Develop, And I think he lost some confidence in himself a little bit in that fight. Didn't have the confidence to, maybe throw some punches that would have led to some takedowns, and then later on maybe entangle him and attack some submissions. But I mean, it's perfectly fine for Dan Hooker. I mean, he needed it. He needed it bad. I mean, Claudio Puelles. I mean, this was win. I think I'm not gonna say win for Claudio Puelles, but if he lost this fight, it would have been like, oh, he's young, he has time. If he wins it, holy fuck, dude, he's ranked. He's this crazy submission artist kid. He's young, he's 26, he's Peruvian, he's this new hot thing. But no, it didn't end up going for Dan Hooker. He desperately needed to win. And look, he got to win over a guy who is young, has some specialties. But I still think, though, that Dan Hooker has a lot of trouble ahead of him if he wants to come back into his division and be established well again. Because, I mean, if Dan Hooker's fighting up, Josh, that's Jalen Turner, Arman Saryukin, Gamera, Fiziev, RDA. Those are all hard fights for Dan Hooker. And I can't, I'm not going to lie to you, Josh. I don't know if I'd pick Dan Hooker in a lot of those fights.
I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. But this is also kind of a weird thing to kind of cut you off with. Actually, never mind. He has a fight booked. I was going to say RDA versus Chandler, but he's going to be fighting Brian Barberena.
Dude, at
170.
Okay. Does that mean he's leaving 155?
He said no, but he went ahead and pretty much he came out after the Fiziev fight. He essentially said I know that I'm probably done fighting for belts, and so I'm gonna fight whoever that's fun at 170 or 155. I'm down for both, which is pretty badass.
There you go. We'll see how long that lasts.
I can't believe we didn't think about this. Eddie Alvarez versus Michael Chandler.
If the UFC decides to sign Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, but come on, man. Come on. You can't let that fight go by, man.
I just don't know if it'd be as good as it used to be now for the four.
No, it obviously wouldn't be. In fact, I think Chandler would win pretty easily, but come on, they're 1-1. It books itself. Eddie's returning back.
I mean, Eddie hasn't been getting knocked out, though. That's the one thing, too. At least Eddie hasn't been getting knocked out.
Yeah, no, I mean,
he's got miles on him.
his one stint did not go as well as he hoped, but like he only lost to killers and he beat a killer in his own right and he had like a no contest in there. Like
he did get cucked.
Yeah, he got kind of cucked. Let's be honest. So
I mean, that's the best way to put it, Josh. I mean, I know it's not
yeah.
like let's be honest, not most professional language, but he got fucking cucked.
Yeah, he kind of got screwed over, especially with one of those fights.
Oh, we were just changing up on me. Okay.
Just anyway, so yeah, I'd book that. Come on, like, dude, the UFC can afford Eddie Alvarez. So.
Oh, I like how you're skipping the question, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
Anyways, it's time to move on.
Oh my god, okay. I'll let it go.
Keep on complaining. Yeah, keep on complaining. I run this show. I'll edit your entire point out. They can't even hear you right now, dude. Like,
you can edit this part out too?
Yeah, I'm editing it out, dude. I'm blurring you out right now.
Don't make me pull out the X-Files, Josh, and post them on Twitter.
Anyways,
okay, yeah.
Time to move on because we do have to talk about Frankie Edgar. Jokes aside, this fight fucking sucked, man. I mean, we knew going in. That was the worst part. Chris Gutierrez knocks out Frankie Edgar cold, not even flying knee. It was just kind of like he stepped in knee. 2 minutes in the first round. I don't know why the UFC is so intent on murdering their legends, but I don't know why they do it because it doesn't even make any sense in any facet because this doesn't help Chris Gutierrez in any way. Like, I think, if anything, people are going to dislike Chris Gutierrez now because he laid out a legend like Frankie. But give me your thoughts on the fight.
You tell me Chris Gutierrez is not cool guy of the week now. Come on.
No, he's not cool guy of the week.
Dude, I think he is.
He's not. I mean, I like the knockout and I like Chris Gutierrez, but, like, this fight did not need to happen. But anyways, what are your thoughts on the fight, man?
I mean, there's not a lot to say. I mean, it kind of the way expected. He exposed something we had seen before, that knee up the middle as he was going in, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of that career. It should have probably ended sooner. You know, I'm not talking about the fight itself, but about the, Frankie Edgar.
Well, this fight could have ended. They ring the bell as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
come on, Josh. But you know what I mean, though. Like, Frankie probably should have retired. Maybe a fight or two ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think that I mean, damn, man. It is just, it's frustrating. I mean, props to Frankie Edgar, incredible career. I mean, this is a guy that helped kind of establish this modern 155-pound division. I mean, you could see his impact in terms of because there were other good 155ers, but Frankie Edgar was the whole package. And for like a portion of the time, like, he was the greatest 155-pound fighter to ever fight in that weight class for like a sizable amount of time. He's still one of the goats of that weight class. And the fact that he was able to move down multiple weight classes, have sustained success, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And this fight did need to happen. It just frustrates me. That's why I brought it up. So, I mean, any other close thoughts on this fight before we move on to the undercard?
There's not a lot to say, man. It's just heartbreaking. Obviously, sad to see his family was there, but that's how this is how the fake game goes, man. You either go out on a win or you either go out on a loss. Now, a lot of times you go out on a loss and you go out on your back.
You to make sure of it.
They tried to, man. They tried to make sure of it.
Like, yeah, because now we're gonna get Shogun fighting some fucking Contender Series guy. He's probably gonna put him out cold, but.
I don't know, man. Best of luck to Frankie. I'm not sure what he wants to do after this, but I hope he does well. I don't know if he owns any companies or anything like that, but if he does, good for you, man. And enjoy retirement, have fun, stay healthy, and you don't have to fight ever again.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, man, as far as the undercard goes, like I said earlier, top to bottom, this thing was just banger after banger after banger. I'm not sure where you want to start here, man. So go ahead and what fights do you most want to talk about?
Oh, man. I mean, let's go down. I mean, let's just start with Renato Moicano. I mean, what a performance, right? Looks sharp on the feet, gets his submission. I mean, he's looking solid, man. He really brought it back after. I mean, this is right after the RDA loss, right? He hasn't fought in between.
Yeah.
That was a good one to come back to. I mean, solid performance. Another win at 155, as we like to see.
Angel. Moicano wants money. All right? That was the greatest post-fight interview in a long time, dude. Are you on board with the Conor McGregor Moicano fight?
Well, it could be fun, but I mean, fucking if Conor wants it, sure, why not? I mean, it's not a big name. I watch Conor fight anybody at this point. I just want to see Conor fight. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, hell of a call out though, hell of a post fight interview, and he looked great, dude. I saw Brad Riddell announce that he's gonna take some time off, probably for the best. He's had a couple of rough fights in a row.
That's 3 rough fights in a row, but they're all ranked guys. They're all fucking killers, no hate there.
All killers, yeah. But, anyways, I mean, I don't know what to say about this one, dude. I mean, Ryan Spann, Dominic Reyes. Do you think that's it for Dom? Do you think that's it for him? I mean, 0-4 in his last 4, more like 0-3 if we're being completely honest, but 3 devastating knockouts in a row. And Ryan Spann, that might have been the most brutal one of them all. I mean, the Yuri one was bad. But
yeah,
Ryan,
I mean, those 2 are pretty close.
They are pretty. I mean, Ryan Spann. First of all, I'm pretty sure he knocked him out with the jab, but then that right over the top made sure he was out cold. That was just. I mean, Jesus. I mean, what do you think about Dom Reyes moving forward, dude? I mean, this was just devastating on every single level.
I mean, I'll put it like this: that it could be, it could be the end, right? I'm not gonna get into details what the end could be, but fuck, man, he did get put out fucking cold, like completely out. It wasn't like he got finished, still there wobbling. No, he was done. He was out. He had no idea where he was at, and that's sad to see, man. It was really sad to see because I really thought he was gonna come back, get right back where he was at. He needed that time off, and shit. I mean, I think there's 2 ways he can go. I'll narrow it down. I think what he's going to have to do is obviously take a long time off again, and take a massive step back in competition, and maybe change his fight style a lot. Because if he gets touched again like that, I mean, is he going to go down like easily, or maybe not even with that hard? Is he going to go? That's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I mean, that's 3 times in a row, and that's just a tough out. I just hope that he makes the right decision for his life, for his career, and that it works out, because he was super entertaining on his come up. He, in the eyes of many, and in even our eyes, we thought he won that title, and he lost after that. I mean, fully justifiably. There's no secret behind that. I mean, he lost that Blachowicz fight, body kicks. Obviously after that led to the finish. The year he fucking elbowed, it was a banger, but he didn't look bad in. And shit, now this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it was just. I agree. I don't think it's the end of the Dom Reyes story, but I do think that 2 things need to happen. He needs to fight. Like, I'm talking bargain barrel. Like the guy, how like Tyson Pedro took off like 3 years, and he's been fighting guys that are like on the verge of getting cut, and he's knocking him out, and we're all like, yeah, he should knock those guys out, but because they're such low level guys. But it makes sense because he took so much time off, and he had injuries and yada yada yada. They need to do that with Dom Reyes. Like, he should be fighting the Harry Hunsuckers of the world. Dude.
Well, I think he needs to do kind of like what Anthony Smith did, because Anthony Smith kind of went through the same thing, right? He had 3 losses in a row. I mean, they weren't knockouts, but.
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a fighter who's had what Dom Reyes has gone through over the last 3 fights. Since I've been watching MMA, like, to see a guy this high level, like, to go through this shit, like, I don't think I've ever seen.
But you got to remember, dude. You remember that Anthony Smith kind of like low run right there? I mean, he got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, like, Glover beat the shit out of him. But even he had the moments in the Glover fight.
But the damage though, he has to think about.
Yeah. Well, and then he fought.
I mean, like, yeah, the success was good, but the what he received, and there was no reward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same with the Rogers fight. And I don't know if there was another loss. Like, he had the Gus win before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't remember exactly how he had to go. And then he had the John Jones fight, which obviously, fuck, we know how that went. But then after that, he got 2-3 wins in a row. I mean, you had Jimmy Crute, Devin Clark. I mean, he took a step back. I mean, he did it the right way.
He did, and I think that's what Dom Reyes needs to do. I don't think it's the end of his story. I really don't think I think he's too young, and I think you can see the talent's there. You can see it. I don't think but at the same time, it's he just takes so much damage, and he's facing killer after killer, and you never get a break. You never get a chance to breathe. He needs someone to build up his confidence. I don't know who he'll fight, but I feel like the UFC should give him an easy touch. You know what I mean? Somebody that they know he can beat. And I understand Ryan Spann might have been that guy to begin with, but even then, Ryan Spann, he's lost a guy. But even then, he's still a contender. He's still a guy that has insane knockout power. He's big as hell. Dude looks like he probably should be fighting heavyweight. He missed weight for this fight. You know what I mean? And he has submission skills. Ryan Spann's not even an easy out for anybody as it is. I think you should give him somebody who's not even ranked. Dom Reyes, take a year off, fight somebody who's not ranked. Go the Anthony Smith route. Go the Tyson Pedro route. If the UFC will let him. I mean, I know that they don't let certain guys do that, but yeah, I mean, it's probably time to move on from Dom Reyes. But I just feel for the guy. I've never felt as bad for a fighter as bad as I feel for Dom Reyes. Literally never.
I mean, like I told you, he has to fight like a Devin Clark type. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyways, man, moving on, dude, Aaron Blanchfield is the fucking truth.
I feel like if you were smart, though, you expected the fight to go the way it did.
Well, I expected Aaron Blanchfield to win.
Oh, you didn't think she was going to submit her?
No. I did not expect her to outland her of 104-0 and then to almost break her fucking arm.
You know, I'm not gonna cap. I didn't see the whole fight. I just saw the submission, but I wasn't surprised that it happened in the first round.
Yeah, she took her down immediately, and then she spent the entire fight in the crucifix position, just landing elbows from the top, just bludgeoning her. It was hard to watch before she got the sub, and then the sub went on for a long time too, because McCann didn't want to tap, and then Aaron Blanchfield started talking about it. She's like, "Yeah, I was gonna break her fucking arm if she didn't tap. I almost had to." You know, I mean, good Lord, like I said, this girl's the truth, man. I mean, every single time she improves, and I've been there since the start, and even then, it's just she's getting rapidly better each fight, and she's only 23, dude. So if you're Valentina Shevchenko, we just saw watched Talia Santos kind of have her way with her on the mat. You fight Aaron Blanchfield tomorrow. You call for that fight, because in 2 years from now, it's not going to be good news. So
well, and hopefully they pace Aaron Blanchfield, because she's ranked 10th now.
They're doing it. They are building her the right way. They're doing it I think the UFC knows what they have on their hands.
I mean, I feel like I hope they take it slow though. They're not going to offer her ELYXR Grasso, who's ranked 5 right now, and you know what I mean?
No. I think.
And I mean, Grasso just fought me. It's oh shit, actually, she could be available.
I think a good matchup next would probably be Andrea Lee, maybe.
She's 9. You don't like Jennifer Maia?
That could be fun. That could be fun on the mat. That could be fun. But I was thinking more the UFC is kind of they're slow rolling her, and I think Jennifer Maia has a decent chance of winning that fight. That's why I said Andrea Lee could be next. Or Argero.
I mean, she needs to have fun in competitive fights still, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. I think both those would be competitive, but I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't think she'll fight somebody in the top 5, but it'll probably be either Maia, Argero, or Lee next, if I had to guess.
You don't think she fights a Casey O'Neill, potentially? She already beat one young prospect too, just like her, Miranda Maverick. I mean,
that could happen.
Beat another young.
Maybe Macy Barber. Macy's won 3 in a row.
I mean,
I know that not everybody would be hype about that, but it'd be 2 prospects meeting.
Be an option, you know. I mean, there's a lot of young girls in that division. That's actually so crazy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the women's 125-pound division has been very, very rough for a long time, but now we're at a position where it's
they're bringing in these new names, yeah.
Yeah, Mana Farrow, Talia Santos, we know how good she is, you know. ELYXR Grasso's getting there. Obviously, Blanchfield, O'Neal, Barber, Cortez. There's some savages, dude, that are very, very young.
Yeah, and then you see the older names are kind of slowly getting pushed out. The Lauren. I mean, and then they're still up to like the Lauren Murphy's, country games of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyways, man, time to move on. Like I said, regardless, though, hell of a performance by Aaron Blanchard. Just destruction. I did not expect him to be as dominant as it was. But our boy Andre Petrosky got a win.
It's probably one of the best performances of the night.
I agree. And you know what, dude? He's
getting a little better.
Key, just getting better each fight. He's 31. And the more experience he's getting, he's looking better and better and better. He's coming out of, even though he didn't win the season, he's coming out of that season being like a potential star. Like, he's looking good, dude. Like you said, one of those underrated performances on the card.
The cardio got better, by the way.
Huh?
Cardio got better.
No, absolutely, dude. That's always been his biggest issue. And I feel like this is the first fight where like he kind of paced himself and it looked good.
He's fought a lot this year. He's fought well, no, not a lot. I guess 2 times. I didn't, plus the grappling match he had with Eric Anders. For some reason, that was way more. But I guess in a calendar year, he's been pretty active, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been extremely active. What is this? 4 fights in roughly like a year and a half since joining the UFC. Mm-hmm. Not even a year and a half. It's like 14 months.
And I mean, we're calling the grappling thing, which is like a whole other level of preparation and shit he has to do.
Yeah. So he's been extremely active. I mean, if you count the tough fights, he's had 6 fights in the UFC in like a year and a half.
I mean, they're building him up right. They did Michael Gilmore, this Chinese batter whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce, and then Nick Maximoff, who had a very similar record. Wasn't determined it was a push, but they were like, that'll be a competitive fight.
It was, yeah.
I mean, he's 4-0 now, officially in the UFC. He has a win in every category: KO, sub, decision. Only missing a DQ now.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty fucking sick, man. I hope you keep doing it the right way, keep building him up, and they do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So he's getting better rapidly, and I think that they are building him up the right way. As far as the rest of the card goes, Matt Frevola knocking out Ottoman Azatar.
That was an upset, man.
That was a big upset. I was surprised at how easy it was for the steamroll of Matt Frevola, dude. 2 wins in a row, both by knockout, and that last fight was a banger too.
I know, like, dude. He's fucking, he's taking O's, bro. That's 2 O's. He's still Canelo Valdez and Ottoman Azatar, dude. Who else is next?
Yeah, he is like a low key he's almost like the, I don't know if I want to call him Justin Gaethje, but he's like always in a banger in that same way, where just like, he's like not even in the top 15, but like, if you're in there against Matt Frevola, you're in there for a tough night at the office. That's just how it goes, super entertaining guy. So I was happy to see him get a win. Also happy to see Carolina Kokavich. They had that weird scoring thing at the end, but regardless, I thought she looked really, really good.
By the way, did we ever see those?
Huh?
Did we ever see those? Like what they were before the change?
I guess apparently it was just as simple as one judge accidentally scored the fight for Silvana, but like he meant to score for Carolina, so they stopped it beforehand.
I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference though.
No, she still would have won by split, but apparently that was what happened. But yeah, man, I mean, dude, Carolina looked fucking good. I mean, this is Carolina's best performance in years, to be honest with you. She navigated the striking well. Like Silvana Gomez Juarez hits hard as hell, But Carolina, and I really hope they keep her around. By the way, she probably signed a 4-fight deal, and that she went 1-3. But goddamn, were all 4 of those fights entertaining. So I really hope they keep her around. But yeah, Carolina had a great win, navigated the striking well. Put everything well together, took her down at one point. I mean, she looked good, so we'll see what happens there. Michael Trezano getting a huge win over Choi Sung-woo, arguably the biggest win of his career. Montel Jackson defeating Julio Arce, and Carlos Olberg.
He looks so fucking clean in this fight. I actually tweeted that out. Oh my god,
dude. I mean, yeah, talk about that one. Hell of a win by him.
I know he was a favorite, but I was kind of like, not gonna lie to you, I was kind of nervous for that fight for him. I was like, I don't know how he's gonna do, but he came out and looked, I mean, out of all the city kickboxing guys, he had the best performance.
He did, because he murdered him.
He did, yeah. He looked fucking great. I hope he has a quick turnaround, man, because I want to see him more. I mean, he's 8-1. His only loss with that Kennedy Nzechukwu fight where he fucking gassed himself out. But he had an active year, Josh. I mean, he fought 3 times in 2022. He fought Fabio Charant in February. He fought Fone and Chiwuki in June, and yet November, this November, obviously, he fought Nicolau.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's getting that experience, and that's the biggest thing, I think, for him.
Fun fact, his birthday's in 2 days.
Oh, good for him.
He'll turn 32.
Yeah, but Yeah, and hell of a performance by him. Overall, this card just top to bottom, like I said, just incredible. But any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
No, nothing specific, man. I mean, it was a fun card. It might be potentially pay-per-view of the year, event of the year. I don't know. We'll talk about that at the end of the year, obviously, when we give our awards away. The Soundoff Awards is
The Soundoff Awards, only a month and a half away, guys.
Always the funnest time ever, man, having to kind of come up with our score, or not score, our winners, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my favorite episodes of the year to always do. So
Same, and obviously anniversary, and obviously the first, obviously when we have that weird time in December where there's nothing to talk about, we take like a week or two off, and then we come back for a card. Always the greatest feeling to.
Always so much fun. But yeah, this card was a banger. But now we got a fight night card coming up. And it's going to be this Saturday for the UFC Apex, UFC Vegas 65, the heavyweights, Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak, getting the 5-round main event. This card top to bottom, not that great, but there are some names to watch. As far as the main event goes, dude, Derek Lewis needs to win. It's about as simple as it gets. 2 fights in a row, both knockouts, which is rough to see. He's getting up there in age, 37. Take on Sergey Spivak, who's 27, 10 years younger, and a guy that at one point looked like, he's just another guy. He got knocked out by Walt Harris, lost to Tybura, but now he's won 5 of his last 6, that one loss being to Tom Aspinall. He seems to be getting better. He seems to be hitting his prime. What do you think about this one?
Josh, I am going to continue my streak of never endlessly picking Derek Lewis in every fight. I have not, on this show, in almost the 3 or 4 years, however the fuck long we've done it, I have never picked against Derek Lewis. That will not change today. I am picking Derek Lewis to knock out Sergey Spivak in devastating fashion.
Incredibly based pick. Very based.
Derek Lewis will improve to 27-10 after Saturday night.
Hey, we'll see, man. We'll see. Man, I'm torn about this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very, very torn about this fight. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Derek Lewis to go and get it done. Yeah, I mean, this is a really rough matchup for him, but I've never been a believer in Sergey Spivak, honestly.
I mean, no disrespect to the names he's beat, but you gotta kind of look at those too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Josh, it's Carlos Felipe, Jared Vanderaa, Lex Lulinek, a loss to Tom Aspinall, Greg Hardy, Augustus Sakai, who's been struggling. I mean, no hate. There's guys there who are solid. But his losses are to Tom Aspinall, Marcin Tybura, a Walt Harris who was doing very well at the time, or I think that was one of Walt Harris's last wins actually before a bunch of stuff.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead and take Lewis to get it done. I just think Sergey Spivak, he's a guy that's he has a lot of TKOs, but generally those takes the guy down. He kind of tries to smother him. He's a big guy. But I don't think that he's going to be able to hold Derek Lewis down. And I feel like on the feet, Derek Lewis is much, much better. Not much, much better than him, but I feel like he'll be able to get the win. I also think that Derek Lewis knows back against the wall. He needs a win here. I think he gets it. Real quickly moving down to the I don't think there's a whole lot to say about the main event. And this card kind of a general league, to be honest with you, but there are some good fights on here. But co-main event, Ian Cutelaba making his return. Taking on Kennedy Njoku from Nigeria. Interesting guy. Kind of a weird that this is co-main event, but what do you think about this one?
First of all, interesting choice. I feel like they could have gone solid call of Andre Fiallo for the co-main.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. Kind
of a weird pick, especially since those guys would have put on a banger, and they're not even opening up the main card. Granted, though, Jack Della Maddalena is not a bad pick either. But, this is weird. I mean, these are two guys who I think are not. I don't think either guy's like super. They're not world beaters yet. They're not like top 15 guys in my eyes.
No. I think could Cutelaba in the top 15?
He was at one point.
He was at one point. No longer. No.
But he has some flaws. He's lost to some of the best guys in the division. We're talking about Teixeira, Ankalaev, Ryan Spanner, Johnny Walker. All great names. Kennedy, I think his whole thing, young, is building a lot of his experiences coming from being in the UFC. I mean, he won on the contender. I mean, he went on the contender series after his fourth fight. It was his fifth fight. It was on the contender series. He won it, got a finish. Obviously, he had that loss to Paul Craig early in his career. Strung some good wins between 2019 and 2021. Some decent guys. Nobody crazy out there. And then this year's been kind of a mixed bag. A split loss over Nicolau, who we just saw lose to Carlos Ulberg, and he beat Carlos and Kennedy beat Carlos Ulberg. We're not going to get into MMA math there, but just saying, he beat Carl Roberson, which is, I mean, he should be beating guys like Carl Roberson. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a pick'em fight, in my opinion. Cutelaba could really come out here, be aggressive, and bomb him. The thing is, though, Cutelaba's really good being the bully, coming forward. But if he's getting back down, that's trouble. But like we saw in that Ulberg fight, Kennedy can get backed up and get put against the fence. And he took, some shots there. The thing is, though, the difference is Ulberg's he was throwing a lot in volume, but he could have been a sniper in that fight. He just decided not to be. Cutelaba drops fucking bombs, and if he comes down here and bullies Kennedy, he could put Kennedy out. And I can see that being a big possibility. Like I said, I think it's a pick-up fight. I think Kennedy could win it, but I'm going to go Cutelaba just because I think if he is allowed to be the bully, is allowed to come forward and bring the action, he could really put Kennedy out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna make the same pick. I'm gonna go ahead and go Cutelaba. I think that he's a brawler. I think if Kennedy can stand back at the distance, he's got a long reach, a big dude.
He does.
I think that pressure is going to be big, and I think Cutelaba's going to go ahead and get the win, maybe grind out a decision. I feel like Cutelaba, he's 28 now, and I feel like his record doesn't look great, but I feel like he's become more well-rounded, if anything. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to go and take Cutelaba to get the big win and possibly move back into the rankings. But as far as the rest of the card goes, man, what are some fights that you're most looking forward to? There are a couple bangers on here, so which ones are you most looking forward to?
I mean, we gotta call it. We talked about it there for a second. Muslim Solikov versus Arshafil. I mean, that's a banger. That's action packed. I mean, Solikov, we saw him, man, against the Leech. Amazing kicks. His ability. I mean, and it is at 38 years old, man. Fucking insanity that he moves the way he does. I mean, he's a specimen. Andre Fiallo. I mean, look, probably one of the best signings ever. Like as far as activity. This will be his fourth fight. This will be his fifth fight this year, which could be good or bad, but he's taking a lot of time off between the Jake Matthews loss and now, which is healthy, good for him. He was fighting, it seemed like every month there for a minute. He fought 3 months in a row. I'm happy he took some time off. And they did something good that could be good and bad for him. They gave him a guy who's formerly ranked like near the bottom. Is a tough and hard competitive fight, but could be fun, but we'll test him and push him forward and see if he's deserving of a ranking spot still, because I think they believe in Andre Fiallo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also think that Andre Fiallo, obviously his last fight was just, that was brutal from Jake Matthews. I don't think anybody expected that. I think Andre Fiallo is still a very good guy, only 28 years old, and I am surprised that him versus Muslim Salikov is not the co-main event. And both those guys, I mean, they're coming off rough losses, but they're really good competition, so a little bit weird there. Jack Dilla Maddalena, he gave him a shout out there against Danny Roberts. Danny Roberts coming off a loss, but he had a 2-fight winning streak before that. Veteran at this point. You know what you're getting from him. He's going to come out here. He's going to swing. He's going to bang. He's going to give you a tough night at the office. So that should be a banger right there. Very, very excited for that one. The undercard, Charles Johnson versus Zhalgas Zagulov. That should be a fun one at flyweight. Charles Johnson really, I don't want to say he impressed me, but he had a pretty decent showing against Muhammad Mokaev, so that should be fun. Rest of the card, I mean, you got Jennifer Maia, Marina Moroz, Vince Morales, Miles Johns, Vanessa Diamopoulos is back, Brady Highstand, Fernie Garcia. I mean, any of the fights you kind of want to talk about, you want to get some shine to, that I may have missed. You
skipped over our boy, Ricky Tercio's back.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, hopefully he doesn't shadow box this time, but and look, it really hasn't been that long since we saw him. It was only a few months back, but I mean, we waited such a long time after the Brady win. I mean, almost a year to see him fight again. It ended up being like 11 months, and it was kind of a disappointment. I mean, it's not like he got beat up or anything, but it's just a bad fight. It just wasn't entertaining. He punched the air a lot. Didn't kind of give us a lot of action that we had seen before. Hopefully this time we kind of get a little bit of that of what captured us, in those seasons on Tough and in the Brady fight, and his personality obviously to continue showing, because I think that's what really makes us as fans enjoy Ricky fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and part of the reason why that was so disappointing is because, like, he had a lot of potential, and still does have a lot of potential, but that fight was just terrible. So let's hope he can get on the right track here. I mean, he's a young kid, he's got a lot of potential, so we'll see what happens there. But that's not the only MMA card going down this weekend, because Bellator 288 is going down from the Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. 2 title fights going down. Vadim Nemkov in the headliner, going to be taking on Corey Overtime Anderson. There's going to be a rematch of their fight from April, which ended in no contest. This is the final of the Bellator Light Heavyweight Grand Prix. That first fight was kind of a weird one, kind of back and forth. Nemkov had success early. Anderson was coming on down the stretch. And then a clash of heads, game to no contest. What do you think about this fight and the rematch, and ultimately who do you think is going to come out on top?
I mean, look, I'm going to keep my original pick. I mean, I'm still going to pick Nemkov. I mean, I still think he was doing things very well before all this shit happened with the fucking, what was it, a headbutt, right?
Yeah, headbutt.
And I mean, he's just at another level too, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, Corey Anderson is probably his hardest. I think his hardest fight in this division, because of the wrestling. I mean, we've seen how fucking scary it's been and strong, and he's showing how much of a dominant force he can be. And once he gets on top, or when in a position where he can start laying down damage, his ground and pound is fucking vicious.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. And this is a fight that is interesting partially because I know that a lot of people just a lot of people were really pissed off. I'm not sure if you remember whenever that first fight originally ended, because they thought Anderson deserved the win and yada yada yada. It should have gone to the scorecards or whatever it may be. I feel like most people forget that Vadim Nemkov had a lot of success early on in the fight. So I think this fight's a lot closer than what people are kind of talking about, and the way that they kind of portrayed it, especially after it ended. But who if you have to make a gun to your head, who you picking on Saturday or Friday? Excuse me.
I mean, like I told you, man, I'm still picking Nemkov.
So yeah, I'm gonna go Corey Anderson. As much as I love Vadim Nemkov, and I did just hype him up, I think over the course of 5 rounds, I think he's gonna have the bigger moments. I think he's probably gonna win on the cards. So I'm gonna go and take Corey Anderson to get the win, but I think it will be very, very close. People are gonna be surprised at how competitive this fight is, especially after their first one where it looked like Corey Anderson was having success down the stretch. But dude, guess who also turns it on in the later rounds? Vadim Nemkov. So for me, this fight's 50-50. But I'm kind of in the direction of Corey Anderson as of now. But that's not the only title fight, dude. This is Bellator's had some good cards this year, but just by virtue of the fact that the top 2 fights, this might be the best card of the year, because Patricky Pitbull, the lightweight champion, Patricky repping that. He's been repping Bellator since the start. He's been fighting that promotion for 11 years now. Finally won the title earlier this year with a knockout win, that was last year actually, November of 2021, knocking out Peter Queally, taking on probably the biggest test of his career, the undefeated Usman Nurmagomedov, 15-0, only 4 fights into his Bellator run. He is fighting for the title. People were a little bit surprised at how early it came, but what do you think about this one, dude? Do you think that the champion it's kind of weird because he is the champion, but do you think that the champ has a chance to pull off the massive upset?
Hey man, I mean these Dagestanis are something else as we've seen. I mean Usman's he's such a well-rounded guy. I mean he's good in the stand-up, good in the wrestling. We've seen it. He has submissions. He has trips. I think he's going to give the older seasoned Pitbull a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same page. I mean, as much as I like Patricky, and I'm happy he got this title shot and ultimately won the belt, but this is always what's going to happen whenever you face a top contender. And the fact that it's Usman's making it even worse. I think Usman Nurmagomedov is going to go out there and have his way with Patricky Pitbull. I'm assuming you're on the same page.
I believe so.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he can do some things. I mean, Patricki's still very, very good, but I just don't think it's going to go the way that he wants. But as far as the rest of this card goes, man, ultimately, like I said, this card might be the best one of the year, but it is extremely top heavy. Which other fights, what other names are you most looking forward to fighting on Friday?
Oh man, I always gotta shout out the young guys. Lucas Brana, obviously his father fought, good jiu-jitsu player, gets a lot of. I mean, I think all his wins have come almost via submission. He had all wins via submissions up to this point, except one has gone to a decision. A little short amateur career. He's a fun guy to watch. I mean, he's only 22. I mean, he's on the come up. I mean, if you want to see a young talent, go watch Lucas Brana, aka Skywalker.
Yeah, I like that shout out. I like that shout out. That kid is very, very talented. I mean, on the main card, Daniel Weichel is going to be back. Always a dog in there. Tyrell Fortune is going to be back. Tyrell Fortune was one of those guys that they had really, really, really high hopes for. I don't know if it's worked out the exact way the Bellator would hope, but he still proved that he can be a pretty good guy. Still a contender in that division. So we'll see if he can get back into the win column here. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun card, but I think everybody kind of knows that those top two fights what most people are coming for. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens though. But overall, I mean, I'm psyched for those top two fights. So we'll see what happens there. But we do got some news to go over as well because Angel, the upset did not happen. Deji got the shit kicked out of him by Floyd Mayweather.
Hey man, but it's the first time I've seen Floyd have any damage on his face.
That's actually a very good point. He both, I believe he cut Floyd and then he also gave him a black eye.
Yep. I mean,
so no matter what happens, he has that.
Yep. And shit, he made Jake bleed first.
That's true. He's still the most person to give Jake damage too. Well, I guess Woodley caught him in the second fight, but
and then obviously Anderson this last fight.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't really have too many marks on his face, though. That was kind of my point. But
compared to the Deji fight, no, Deji got that dog in him.
Yeah, Deji just had that dog in him. Yeah, dude, you got to give Deji props. Apparently, there was a lot of drama last second because Floyd changed the gloves. It's supposed to be like big gloves, 14 ounces, and then Floyd refused to fight unless it was 10.
Yeah.
So kind of a dick move to pull against somebody who's like a YouTuber. But
they could have done like 12. You know.
Apparently it was 10 or he would walk, so.
That's so whack. That's so whack for an exhibition.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So, regardless, man. Yeah, I mean, got a feel for Deji a little bit there because I understand he was never going to win, but even worse whenever he had to deal with that sort of thing. But anyways, as far as the rest of the card wins on that Global Titans Fight Series card, my boy Bobby Fish got a win. But I mean, I feel like the bigger news is Tommy Fury missing weight, then his opponent refusing to fight him, so they had to go and get an exhibition, and he fought. I don't even have the gentleman's name in front of me, but he was 15-1-1. And it was a terrible exhibition, in case anybody was curious. Now, exhibitions can either go one of two ways. Sometimes, like the Deji and Mayweather one, they were actually throwing punches. They were actually putting on a show. This was two guys who came for the paycheck that knew that, fight was short notice and nothing was going to happen. It was Raleigh Lambert, I believe, was the gentleman's name we took the fight on one day notice. Yes, it was. This was fine, but the bigger news was that Jake and Tommy had a back and forth, and Jake agreed to fight him in February, but he also had to face off with Andrew Tate at the event. So he has his hands in a lot of potential fights right now. So what do you think about the whole interaction back and forth with both Tommy and Andrew Tate?
I mean, it's all cool. I mean, it's kind of weird because it all kind of originates with Jake. You know, it's not even these guys individually. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously these guys all have their stuff going on, but I mean, it's all surrounded by Jake and shit. I mean, yeah, I mean, Josh, I've already told you in the green room a little bit my thoughts. I'm like, I think the fight to make is Andrew Tate because of the hype. Because I think no matter what, the Tommy fight will always be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. Especially considering if Tommy and Jake keep on fighting and winning, like, that point it'd be kind of like a really big fight, like a year or two down the line. It'd be much bigger than it is now. I feel like there's no real interest. Or, I mean, I'm sure there's some interest, but not nearly as much as there could be any potential Jake.
What if Jake fought at Vidal?
He'd die. What do you mean? What if? Like, just
pro boxer, he trained KSI. I mean, just say, imagine if Jake boxed him, beat him.
No, I mean, he could, but he'd get fucked up. If he wants to lose, that could be his thing. But I don't think he would. I mean, he says he wants that fight, but
does he really?
He's talked about it. Yeah, he said that if KSI doesn't want to fight him, he'll fight his trainer, which
former trainer.
Let's go and say that as well. But yeah, it would not. Yeah, it would not go well. It really wouldn't. So for Jake's sake, I would not do that one. But yeah, just my thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like the fight to make probably is the Andrew Tate one, just by virtue of the fact that like they make so much money. And honestly, like Nate, I think is probably not going to fight him. And Tommy, I don't know if you want to run that risk again. Let him get a couple more wins, make it a bigger fight, and then who else is around? Like, not too many other names. Like, KSI's fighting in January. We'll know his opponent on Saturday, so that'll be cool.
They announced that?
They've stated they're gonna go ahead and announce it during the Misfits card.
That's sick. Okay.
That is pretty cool. But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, I think the fight to make is Jake versus Andrew Tate. Not because it would be very competitive. I think Jake knocks him out in round one, but I think that I think it's probably just fight to make in terms of money and who's available. I mean, I think that makes the most sense. But yeah, speaking of the Misfits card, that is going down on Saturday. Hasim Rahman Jr. was supposed to fight Vitor Belfort. Vitor fell out, and instead it will be Hasim Rahman Jr. versus Greg Hardy if all things go according to plan. What are your thoughts about this replacement fight and also some other fights in the card? We saw our boy Overflow got added this one against FaZe Temper. There's a couple of other names on here. So what do you think about this one? The card as a whole.
I mean, good for Greg Hardy, right? Trying to do something after the MMA experiment, kind of didn't go his way. Shit, I mean, he knocked out a guy before in boxing. Why can't he do it again? But he has his hands full against a guy who's been doing this his whole life.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't think it's going to go very well for him, especially on 1 week notice. I mean, I would have honestly preferred Shannon Briggs is apparently the other finalist in this conversation.
Let's go, champ!
I would have preferred Shannon the Cannon. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, if Shannon's around, he's also been a part of this whole influencer boxing scene. So, I'd be cool with it, but I guess not. So, yeah, I mean, this card as a whole, I think it's honestly pretty fun. I feel like, who's the big name that's back? Because they're no longer the main event.
They did King Kenny versus Dakota Miller, which I don't know if they got moved up to the main event.
Dean the Great, who's the main event.
They're doing Dean the Great? Oh, shit.
Dean the Great versus Waleed Sharks, Hasim Rahman Jr., Greg Hardy, Josh Bruckner, Chase Demore, King Kenny, DK Money.
Yeah.
Ice Poseidon, Brandon Buckingham.
That's a banger right there.
That is a banger right there. Brandon's going to fuck him up, man.
Probably.
Minicon, Nick Joseph, FaZe Temper Overflow, and Fangs versus some goth chick.
Dude, I think the most interesting, or at least the most entertaining one of the influencers will be the Josh Bruckner Chase Demore fight. I mean, Chase is guy's an athlete. Obviously, you see the guy. I mean, he's guy looks like a great guy. And then Josh, I mean, he did some pro MMA, got a few wins. He was on the boxing card for Jake back in JJ back in 2019. He hasn't done any boxing or MMA since then. And he's back here now that the influencer boxing thing has kind of like popped off a little bit, and he has some experience. I mean, it was an all-in MMA beforehand, and then he had the one-off boxing match, and now he's going to do this against Chase. I feel like there's a lot of potential for this particular one to be really entertaining, or maybe a blowout if Josh comes out here and just shows Chase that he should be playing fighting games in real life.
Yeah, it can go either way, but I think that's probably going to be one of the better fights on the card. Yeah, I mean, I think this is honestly a pretty solid card, like top to bottom. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad this one's not on pay-per-view. It's just going to be DAZN straight up. So, should be fun. Solid replacement as well. And the last bit of news, we're going back to the UFC because, like I teased earlier, there was a fight announcement. In fact, there were two fight announcements. UFC 284. Going down from Perth, Australia next February 2023. We have a main event. Islam Makhachev taking on Alexander Volkanovski in his home country, going into the Lion's Den to try and earn pound for pound number one status. Pound for pound number one probably going to end up being versus pound for pound number two by the time the fight's made, or by the time the fight rolls around, I guess rather. And in the co-main event, dude, Josh Emmett, Yair Rodriguez, we're getting the interim featherweight title, which we discussed for a while now. Is this the right move for both of these fights, and what are your thoughts on it, man?
I mean, I'm down for the fucking pound for pound title, man. I fuck with that energy. I think it's cool. Volk is down. Islam's down. Why not, man? Put higher stakes on everything and make it difficult. And at the end of the day, we're here to see the best fight the best. And I think these guys are doing it the right way. They want to test each other. Both are down. And Volk's been like hella fucking down. He's been talking about this shit for a while. And I think that's awesome. And Islam's down. So let's get it done. Let's see who honestly, in a way, who might be the number one fighter on the planet.
Yeah, man. I mean, this fight is just fucking excellent, dude. I'll be honest with you, I was not really on board with it at first. But I come around, dude. I think that both of these guys are in their primes right now, and it's so rare that you get a fight where it's like two guys in their primes, champions, and they're meeting, and it's incredible. Because even think about like the other double champ matchups, right? Like, just think back, Angel. Think back to some of the other ones. It's like Conor versus Eddie. Neither one really in this pound conversation. Conor just won the belt at 145. Eddie just won the belt at 155. Neither one had a title defense. Think back. DC versus Stipe is probably the closest thing you're going to get to this. But even then, like, DC had already lost to Jones and arguably lost to Gus. And, Stipe was like, Stipe's always been a good guy, but never really. He's always been a little bit inconsistent, you know what I mean? He's prone to getting caught. So we've never really had a fight like this where it's like, what is this? I mean, Volkanov, both guys have 10 plus winning streaks going in, different weight classes, dominant as fuck. I understand Makhachev just won the belt, but we're kind of, I mean, come on, man. If you dominate the reigning champion who had like a couple title defenses, like, come on, man. So, yeah, I'm psyched for this one. I will admit, I'm happy with the interim featherweight fight. I am not as happy that Yair Rodriguez is a part of it, and that's nothing against him personally, but
I think they were going to give it to him regardless of what we wanted, and I'm sure Arnold Allen and was not going to be ready by this specific timeline.
He may not, and that could be a part of it, but
yeah.
I mean, Arnold Allen, the guy with the longest winning streak as a contender, him not getting the title makes me feel a type of way. I'm going to be completely honest, he does make me feel a type of way, but
he kind of cements him right there, though.
Yeah. I mean, he could be next man up. But as a fight,
and I mean, he could be the backup weigh-in. I'm sure they're gonna have to have someone weigh in as a backup. They have to.
Could be. Yeah.
Especially for that. Huh? Especially for that fight, dude. They could not have someone not there.
Exactly. That'd be huge. So
unless they do like Max. I doubt it.
I mean, no way.
I don't think Max will be a backup. Who do you think will be their backup? Probably Arnold, or who else would be another? I mean, it can't be Ilya or Bryce Mitchell because they're busy. Because they're going to be fighting in December, I believe.
So the fun thing about the backup weigh-in guy is that they can honestly just put anybody they want in that spot so long as they're a ranked fighter. Just because it's like more than likely they won't be needed.
Yeah, but who do you think it would be? Like if we're supposed to converse, who would they choose?
Fucking probably Arnold Allen, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Because Giga's fighting, right? I doubt they're giving it to Barbosa. Fucking who else is up there? I can't think of other names off the top. Calvin Kattar, definitely not.
Calvin Cater's out
because he's hurt.
Chan Sung Jung is not really active right now.
Not active, but it's
out.
That could be a maybe. Ortega's out. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
They're gonna have to beg Arnold Allen to come in as a backup weigh-in.
But as far as the fight itself goes, as much as I would have preferred it to not be Yair Rodriguez is Josh Emmett is a certified banger.
Josh, that's a
good
banger.
Banger. I mean, absolutely insane fucking fight right there, man. So
if that fight was a chick, it would have a fat ass.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But anyways, man, I'm psyched for this one. As far as any other news you want to talk about before we close out?
Nothing specific. I mean, I think we covered everything really well. I mean, I knew this show was going to go, we were going to go a fair bit, and we will next week too, because obviously we're gonna have to recap Bellator, and I think by that time we'll have. I don't think we'll go in as in depth as I want to, but we'll talk about PFL right around that time.
We are going to talk about PFL. I think we're going to go pretty in depth on that one because there's no UFC next week.
Oh well, shit! I guess you're fucking right. I'm sorry.
Yep, so we're gonna go in depth on that PFL championship card, first ever pay-per-view. So I'm psyched for that one.
Yep, that should be very fun.
All I'm saying is my girl Larissa Pachenko.
Could you imagine? She
might, dude. She very well might win.
She could be. Dude, if she did that, she'd be Fighter of the Year.
Oh my god, dude!
I feel like there'd be a solid.
I think she should already be in the fucking conversation for Fighter of the Year.
No, you're not wrong. She's knocked out literally every chick, which is very uncommon in any women's division.
All in the first round.
All in the first round, and then in whatever fashion she would, could possibly beat Kayla Harrison in. I mean, that'd be a heck of a year for any fighter, man.
That would be. I mean, to be the first ever person to put an L on Kayla Harrison's record, 15-1. That'd be crazy, dude. That'd be crazy. So yeah, I'm psyched for that fight, and we'll talk about that next week. And don't want to dive too much into the preview because it's just 1 week away. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. But yeah, any other closing thoughts before we close out?
I guess as my final announcement, I will tell the whole podcast.
You ready? You're ready? You're doing it?
I am now training jiu-jitsu, guys.
Let's go.
I don't know exactly what that
Caught
all
somebody
means.
on first day, by the way.
Kinda. But it's a process. Hopefully, I can bring more to the show and offer some more analysis in a way that we've never had before, and overall kind of raise the quality of the show and give us some credibility. Because now I'm in there. I'm going to be in there training a little bit. Obviously, I'm not going to be fighting, but I do want to go compete, have some fun, progress, and generally enjoy the sport. And already having a lot of fun and enjoying the process and enjoying embracing the suck of it, cause right now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm out of fucking shape, but, we'll get there, and we'll get in good shape, and before you know it, we'll be learning a lot, catching people with some submissions, having fun, progressing in the belt, hopefully going to some, tournaments locally, catching some dubs, showing some medals on the gram, hopefully on Twitter, and I'll definitely be posting some pictures for everybody out there to see, and then obviously offer some support because, it's king shit out here only, baby.
King shit. Champ shit only.
Yep.
And guys, now it's time for my my announcement.
Josh
guys.
will be fighting one of the guys from FNP. No,
I'm going to be fighting Andrew Tate next.
I'm actually.
I am also a kickboxing champion, guys. I never talked about it.
Didn't want to brag.
I did I had a karate tournament at the Y when I was 9 years old, and I went 3-0 in my tournament that day. So I won the tournament and I was champion. So basically the same as Andrew Tate.
Come on, Josh, you're actually fighting Tristan Tate.
Oh, well, that's even easier. No, I don't know if either one of these guys are good. I've just seen Andrew Tate fight like a couple of times. Like whenever he's first going viral, I'm like, all right, let me see this guy. What's the deal? And I'm like, oh yeah, he would get fucked up by KSI, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. Jesus Christ, they'd kill him. But anyways, yeah, I mean that's essentially all I got as far as the podcast goes. Yeah, you guys should stay tuned to Angel's Twitter, which is at AngelTing_1, because he may so. What, are you gonna put some jiu-jitsu stuff up there? Put some pictures, maybe? I'm gonna put some pictures, show some stuff. I mean, I don't know what all exactly I'm gonna do, but I'm definitely gonna get some pictures from class and post them on there and get some love, man. I mean, share the love and support. And obviously for the community of guys out there who follow us, who are also who do a podcast just like us or report or do whatever and don't do this, don't practice anything or don't do anything, to inspire you guys to go out there and do something yourselves and be a bigger part of the sport too, and it's not all about actually fighting MMA, but Muay Thai, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, anything, judo, whatever it may be, kind of get yourself out there and have fun. Obviously, I mean, not everybody's gonna want to do it, but I kind of want to be like, I want to be one of the guys who's out here, Josh, giving us a little bit of credibility, Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, man. And invitation to all you guys. Angel will beat you up. I'm just saying. If there's any of the podcasters out there, they want to answer the call.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm gonna be on one of these influencer cards, right?
Jokes aside, I feel like you probably could. I feel like you probably get on one of those. But anyways, yeah, guys, be posted to his Twitter at @agent_1. I'm at Josh Evanoff. I'm not fighting or training or doing anything, but I will post the occasional banger tweet. So we're finally there. And then at Courtside Soundoff for all things late of the show. As always, incredible sponsors of the show, Rogue Energy and ELYXR. Code Soundoff for both, 10% off for both. And hope you guys enjoyed the show. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.